Hey guys, so we're gonna do a quick one on the accommodation, the compound, the location. So the one I went to was in Malaysia, Salang, Malaysia, which is not an actual Vipassana center. It's a gypsy site, meaning they rent out this location to conduct the course. And because it's not a proper meditation site, it's a little bit smaller than what the other ones would be. So I'm told that the courses could easily be up to 100 to 200 people, up to 400 or 500 individuals. Ours had about 50. We had 24 women and 17 men. And we end up going to a place that was rented it was an eco village, and was rented and given to us. And the accommodations was basic. Here was quite basic. I heard that other locations were very nice. Could be quite nice individual rooms for everybody. So for us, we lived in shared dorms, males in one, females in another, and we were segregated by that. Now, the buildings that the females were in was like a very beautiful, large, 3-story building. One floor for people to stay on, one was just big for display, Indonesian style with a large, tall roof, and then downstairs was their eating hall. And the women had a very beautiful, nice accommodation. Well, the men had a bungalow, small old bungalow, where 8 guys were sleeping in the living room, 4 guys were sleeping in the master bedroom, 3 guys are sleeping in 2 individual rooms, and then 2 more people slept in the kitchen. And for us, we didn't know any better, right? And part of the reason I share this is the perspectives that I've learned or I've gotten out of this. It's because you have so much time to reflect. You see, the breaks you have are actually quite long, and they feel ridiculously long. After having lunch, you're just sitting there waiting until the next meditation's point for like an hour, and that hour stretches out to infinity. So I had a lot of time to think, and I always thought about different perspectives, and I looked at the women's accommodation. They have this nice, beautiful building, and I was extremely envious, or kind of envious. First off, several reasons. One, there were 24 women and 17 men, but for 24 women, they had 7 toilets and showers. Men had 4. So in terms of ratio, we had the short end of the stick. But on top of that, they had newer washrooms with actual toilet seats. Men, we had old school squat toilets, okay? Squat toilet bins, and kind of old and run down. That was 1. 2, women had a spinner, a machine that spins and helps your laundry dry a little bit faster. Men did not, but that's not the biggest of deals. 3, the building they slept in was massive. They were on the 2nd floor. They had a beautiful view over the whole eco village. They could see sunrise in the background, sunset. They had beautiful pineapples and trees and everything. And the men, unfortunately, had a small little bungalow, and we had a driveway. We basically just saw this one driveway, about 100 meters by 100 meters, and that was it. And for us, we thought it was intentional. That was kind of like felt like kind of a jail kind of situation for us. But the women had a very nice, luxurious one. And obviously we would look over, and we're not supposed to look at each other via the eyes in terms of communicating, but we would look because we're reflecting, and you see the beautiful scene. And I would often look towards that building because the scene was magnificent. You imagine like a massive kind of house, 2 stories tall with another story just for pure roof. And then in the background you see the beautiful blue sky. So this dark kind of roof, white building with a dark brown roof on the backdrop of a beautiful background, of a blue background, and then just light clouds. And you literally see the clouds passing by, right? You can see it, just this is a roof. And all you see is a stationary roof, and then just clouds passing by. And of course, you got little trees and greenery framing it. So you have this magnificent, full-on color scheme, right? And when the sun would hit at 7 in the morning, around 7 in the evening, the color was spectacular. Not only did you have blue, white, brown, green, and multiple shades of green, blues, and browns, but you had multiple colors of red and yellow, and the birds. It was magnificent looking at that building while we were waiting in our section. And the other thing was, women had a very good eating area. They had a nice canteen kind of area where you had massive communal tables made of like solid oak or teak wood or something like that, with very nice benches, right? And it was kind of communal, big table, you sit around. We were all assigned our seats. And I thought, what jealousy, look at that. They have such a beautiful place to eat. As men, we had, it was a garage by the looks of it, and we had basically little children's desks, little plastic desks with like metal legs, okay, just very small, sit there, and that which is where you eat. And I felt really bad for the guys who had to face the wall. You had nothing but the wall. You were facing the wall, eating 10 days straight. No, nothing at all. No stimulation visually. And I was lucky because one row was facing the wall, and then the second row was facing the back of the heads of the people in the first one. So I was in the back, so I can actually at least had some stimulation, because I see people, and you could see it was kind of awkward because people didn't like looking at the wall, right? There's nothing to see. And I was thinking, look at that in comparison. But then upon reflection, upon perspectives is one of the key things I like to share, and I like to teach about looking at other people's point of view from their point of view. Did the women have it better than the men? A lot of things they seem to do. Their accommodations were very nice, but certain aspects made me wonder. One was, eating location. We're not allowed to look at each other. You're not allowed to communicate. So what you really want to do is you want to avoid all eye contact. Otherwise, it's going to get awkward. So men, in a way, we had a blessing. By facing away from each other, facing towards the wall, facing straight, there was no chance of accidental glances, like kind of awkward glances. Because if you wanted to see the person beside you, you had to do a full 90-degree turn, right? And he had to pretty much look at you directly before you could see him. So it was very unlikely for you to just, cross eyes, for example. But for women, it was different. As a communal table and a communal sitting, you literally are sitting in front of somebody, right? Maybe a meter away. And how awkward could that be? Because then you can't look up. When you eat, you'd have to look down. Because if you look up, you have a lot of chance of seeing someone's eye. Not only the person in front of you, but the person to your right, the person to your left, right? Who's just right and left. So in a way, we had a bit of a way of relaxing. We could at least sit like this and stare comfortably without having to worry about glancing in each other's eyes and communicating. Whereas the women, you'd have to look down to avoid eye contact. That was one perspective that I thought was very interesting that was shared with me. The second perspective I thought was very interesting was the perspective of beauty, what you can see. And so for what I described a few minutes ago, I saw the beauty because of the building and the lights were framed, but the women could not because they were in the building. They were the beauty. So what they saw, conversely, was us, a bunch of haggard men just stumbling across our little courtyard, a little driveway back and forth every day for 10 days. That wasn't nice, right? So in terms of that, I thought, wow, they lost the beauty that we could see. And also made me reflect on that instance. Is it better to be the beauty, but you cannot see it, or someone who can behold the beauty? You get that? Someone see the beauty, or be someone who can behold the beauty. And I remember that very clearly because when I was in Santo Domingo in Dominican Republic, that was how part of the city was developed. You had two little hills. One hill was really poor shacks and shanties. The other ones were luxurious villas. And the guys I went with wanted to show me the perspective. He said, look at these. They may be poor, they may have tinned roofs, but when they look across, they see beautiful villas, palm trees, everything. He takes us to the other side, and he goes, but do they have a great? What do they see? Well, they see all these shacks and shanties. That's their view. And it just really made me consider different perspectives. And I guess one other thing that we men really liked and we had a luxury of and the women did not have, we had extremely cute puppies. We had two cute puppies who would always run around, and although we couldn't really interact with them that much, it was very entertaining to watch them run back and forth, playing and biting and chasing frogs and things like that. And as they always say, right, grass is always greener on the other side, and it's just important for us to kind of think and review perspectives. Perhaps there's beauty on both sides. Right? Perhaps it's not so bad. when you really take everything in view. Anyways, I just want to share with you about accommodation. It's a very long video, but hope that was interesting for you, and I wanted to share that perspective. Give me your thoughts.